guides talking. Although you had free will at that early stage in your life, you never second guessed the guidance. All it required from you was to follow the guidance, was to simply listen and follow your curiosity. You are here to learn through self-discovery brought about through experiences. It's the series of experiences that does two things. It sharpens your free will skills and it lets you get back in touch with our guidance. Neither one on their own would give you the limitless potential outcomes. That's why free will and guidance are designed to work together, especially as you get older. Now imagine that. Especially, they mentioned that, right? Especially as you get older. They said that. This is really fascinating to me. Neither one on their own would give you the limitless potential outcomes. That's why free will and guidance are designed to work together, especially as you get older. How do you interpret that, Ray?
Well, I think people actually believe that they get better at their decision making. I think most people as they get older because they have more experience. But I think they've had that 1 year or 2 years when they were growing up where they were formulating their belief systems on which they built their decision making, and they started making those decisions and they never change. It's like the person who is applying for a job and they say, I have 10 years of experience, when they really only have 1 year of experience 10 times over.
Doing the same thing,
right,
for 10 years.
Right.
Okay, so I interpret this differently.
You would.
Isn't that something? I interpret this differently in the sense that, I'll read it again, neither one on their own would give you the limitless potential outcomes. Neither one on their own. So what happens as you get older, you learn that you've just been struggling too hard. You've been working too hard at this. Life shouldn't be this hard. And that's when you start searching for what's missing in your life. And when you do that, you learn, especially when you run into us. I relentlessly bring this up to you, that being connected and having this complementary relationship between free will and guidance. Free will comes from this world. Guidance comes to you from your guides. It comes through you, and you just know what to do. You learn to start listening to that, especially when you run into us, okay? Because this is what we teach. This is what we do. This is what guided is all about, is teaching you guys, reminding you how this works. You already know it. You know all this stuff. You came in with it into this world. So this is not new to you. It's far from new to you. So as you get older, it's interesting. You come in with it, and as you get older, you wake back up to it. But in the middle of all that, you know, from say, I don't know, say late teens, early 20s to, I'm going to say 50s, somewhere in your 50s, you just you get really pulled into this world, all the distractions, everything that is just this world, free will based, forcing it, chasing it, making it happen. You got to have it. I want that relationship. I want that car. I want that job. I want that life. I want that house. It's a bunch of that, okay?
It's like you demand an outcome.
It's true. And you're under pressure. You're under so much pressure. You have a family, you have kids now, everyone's leaning on you. So, oh my God, you feel the pressure of that. And then when you're released from it, the kids are grown, they're out of school, you know, you're on your own, you're back to yourself. You're back to the beginning. Now you can take a breath and catch yourself and go, okay, now I see when free will and guidance complement each other, that's the part of your life that you find yourself in. And you learn to blend the two and work together and have the power to make, this is all about the capacity to make a really good decision in your life over and over again, reliably. When free will and guidance complement each other.
Well, you said you get to their 50s, and their life changes, and they've maybe gone through some different relationships. The kids are gone. They're empty nesters. They're by themselves. They find out a couple of things. Number one, they're not employable. If they go out to look for a job, they can't find meaningful work.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
right?
With all that experience.
I know.
But then they realize a couple other things, that they get their time back, like you said, and in that getting their time back, they feel that they can maybe take more time to make a decision. Because
right.
Up until then, they've been making the same decisions for decades.
Right, and they're tired of it.
Right, okay, so now they have more time to make a better decision, and this is where their guidance can really reach them, because they're not running around in a circle.
This is where the guided journal writing system works, okay? And I always tell you guys to start with part 3, my journal writing. Start in there. You're going to find it infiltrating your writing. Free will, bring your journal out and start writing into your journal what's unusual or out of the ordinary. Start tracking it. Start documenting it. The minute you start writing it down, in the interview today, turned out to be a really strong testimonial from Jackie, who was one of the interviewers that had me on back in April. And she took this, she started doing the journal writing. And what do you know? It took her 45 days, right about 45 days, for it to show up on the page. I'd like to call it automatic writing. It doesn't look like automatic writing, but it is. It's there on the pages. It looks like you're writing, but it's clarity. It's powerful. It's the instruction manual for you to make that really good decision where you've been hung up and trying to find your way. Bam! It shows up on the page. Okay? That's why you do this every day, you guys, 15 minutes a day, where you have that meeting with your spirit guides. That's what's going on here.
A lot of times you look back at what you wrote and you go, well, I didn't write that. I couldn't have written that.
I don't
remember writing that.
I don't say it like that.
I don't talk like that.
Right, Ray? We bump into that all the time. When we channel the information for you, the guidance that comes through, we'll go, oh, well, that's an interesting way of saying it. Of course, that's not how Ray would say it or I would say it, but that's how the guidance, that's why you know it's coming from them. It's coming through us and not from us, okay?
Okay. Now, everybody has to understand that the guidance is not decision-making. They don't tell you what to do.
It's not decision-making.
They don't tell you to make this decision and you go do this. They will show you things.
Right, they'll show it to you.
They'll lay things out in front of you, and well, you might want to check this out. That might look interesting, but you also might want to look at this.
That's right, Ray. And that's the part where they talk about just one little piece of today's insight. You are here to learn through self-discovery brought about through experiences, okay? It's the series of experiences that does 2 things. It sharpens your free will skills, and it also lets you get back in touch with our guidance. Neither one on their own would give you the limitless potential outcomes. Neither one of them on their own. Okay, that's what Ray was just referring to.
Because
you make the ultimate decision. This is your life. All right.
Yeah, you're going to make the decision to go left or right when you get to the crossroads.
Right.
Or stand still on the road.
But you're here
to get these experiences. You're not here to buy stuff. You're here to have experiences.
And that's why they said as you get older, because then all these, the material world doesn't have the grip on you that it used to have, okay? What a relief that is. Oh, man.
In the interim, say from your late teens, early 20s, where you had a dream, you had an urge, that was pulling you one way. I want to be a musician, or I want to be a doctor, or I want to.
And you really want that.
You really wanted that. Is that free will, or is that something you came in with?
Let's ask the guides. That's a good question. Now, did you guys catch that? Ray, say that again.
All right. All your life you've had this urge that you want to be an astronaut, or you want to be a doctor, or you want to be a writer, or a musician, or an artist, and that's all you can ever think of. Did you decide that free will, or is that something you can't control biologically? You came in with that urge.
And it's not, it bypasses free will because it's so strong.
Right.
Let's find out what the guides have to say about that. That is an interesting question.
We are here in truth and love most of the time. When the urge takes over your life and you can think of nothing else, you brought that urge, that decision with you when you came in from previous lives. Maybe you were a doctor or healer in many lives before and had much more to contribute to the world by continuing that path.
So I'd say in my case, doing the work that I do now, finally got around to it, in my life, wrote, guided, published it when I was 62. I came in with the merry-go-round dream, even before 20 months old, when I first physically encountered my guides and met them, and they appeared all around me. Okay, even before that, the first thing, chapter 1 of Guided, is the merry-go-round dream. It didn't stop. It went for 35 years and never changed. Do you think it was telling me something? What it was doing, it was guiding me, is what it was doing. It was reminding me, Linda, my soul had to see this through. It had to see what I'm doing now. It had to make sure in my later years, right, as I'm getting older, that I lived out this intention. And the guides, when they, in part 4 of Guided, Ray comes into my life, and they send him in, and they tell us right away that this is divine, that we've got a mission together, that writing this book, the whole thing just started coming out. And Ray, did you have any idea what you stepped into 15 years ago?
No, but I see it now.
Would you have done it again had you known everything that it was going to take to do it, on top of all the great stuff?
Well, yeah, but see, the people don't know the outcome. I know. They think of an outcome. They perceive some kind of an outcome.
I know, but here's my question to you, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting because, Ray, he could have gone a completely different way in his life. Did he really need all this? Okay, and it hasn't been always easy, you guys. We've been through huge transformations together. On top of this project, huge, all right, where we had to release one layer after another, after another, after another. Would you have done it again?
Looking back now, yes.
That's my guy.
See, that's why.
That's the right answer.
That's why you can't have a predetermined outcome, something you want it to be in the future,
right?
Because that's what keeps you unhappy.
That is right.
If you say, I'll be happy when I get more money, or I'll be happy when I get a new job, or a new spouse, or a new car, and then you get those things, and you're not happy.
This is the part where they said, neither one on their own would give you the limitless potential outcomes.
Right.
Okay, that's it right there. So the whole point to this, and what Jackie talked about today, and how she learned, what she learned, and how it unfolded by following this process, the guided journal writing process, is there it was. It was hers now. Okay. But guess what happened? There's a caveat to this.
Right.
She had to do the work. All right. The guides aren't here to do the work for you. You came into this life. You signed up for this. This is your life, your opportunity. They're backing you up. They're pointing things out. They're giving you direction. But you choose to go there or not. Jackie chose to go there. She did the work. She said it was a lot of work. And it was worth it. Now it's going, okay?
And Jackie, over this last 5 months, followed her dream, listened to the guidance, wrote every day.
Every day for
and
15
opened
minutes.
up the business of her dreams yesterday.
Yes.
First day.
Opened the doors and the students came in. Okay? She's on her way. She was, and she attempted to chase it first.
Right.
And it wouldn't work. She had an agent try to find her the building, and he couldn't find it. And then she tried to find it, and it didn't show up. And then she just went, it's just not working. I'm just going to pull back. And as soon as she pulled back,
the next day,
the most outrageous thing happened. Most peculiar, unusual thing happened.
She called it a coincidence.
Yeah, but she doesn't now. It pointed her right to it. So the moral to the story is you can't chase this stuff. It just shows up. That I'm going to go back to my earlier point. My journal writing. You got to keep track of this stuff. What did I say? You got to write down the things that are unusual and out of the ordinary.
Right.
Right? Just remember.
The things you blew off before.
Yeah, you just said, oh, yeah, well, that happened, but I don't remember the details. No, you don't, because you didn't write it down. Right here. All right.
Are they supposed to write it down?
This is, yes.
Okay.
And this is the 4 qualifying questions that you ask yourself each time that brings you to the conclusion each time, so that when you refer back, you look back, you see how they tie together, you see the connection, you see that you're connecting the dots, you see the storyline. Okay, that's where the answers are. All right, Ray. Who do we have with us?
Well,
we didn't give them any love today, Ray.
Let's give them some kudos here.
Here they go.
For showing up, sharing their evening with us. Let's see. Let's go back. Roll back to the top here. Kimberly. Oh, she says hello to my favorite people.
Hi, Kimberly. I hope your face and your cheeks feel better.
Yeah, she's going to go and watch the video later. And Brittany's here. Brittany Elizabeth Cotella. She's new. Love to have you.
Love to have you.
Showing up.
Great.
Veronica, Brittany, Sally. Another new person. Hi, Sally.
Sally.
Welcome. All right.
You guys, for all of you, people that have been with us for a while, give those guys a lovey, a thumbs up.
A fuzzy. Give them a fuzzy.
Yeah, give them one.
And Brad's here. Brad Miller.
Brad.
Okay.
Now, Brad had an interesting experience at our event at Storm Wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
On September, what day was that, Ray? The
7th.
September. And Brad had a physical experience. Joy was there. Joy heard Brad talking about it. So you guys.
Well, there's another one to that.
Yeah.
Brad felt.
He did.
An energy
pulling
him
right
toward Linda in the front of the room. His arms went out like this, and he felt the energy going that way toward Linda.
Brad is a big guy.
Yes.
He could. In fact, Ray said he's going to. What are you going to hire him
Someday
for?
when you're world famous, he's going to be our chief of security.
That's right, Brad.
Okay, so what else happened? Not right after that. Last time we went to Costco, we were walking down the aisle.
Okay, now check this out. We did our Storm Wisdom on the 7th, and Brad had this amazing experience. Okay,
right, this energy pull.
Yeah, it was powerful. He goes, I couldn't control it. It was really pulling on me, and he'd never had anything like that before. Okay, and then we went to Costco. Was it 4 days later?
Yeah, just a few days later.
Just not long after that.
And we're walking down the aisle, and you know how they have those little booths where people are demonstrating stuff or trying to sell you something. They're sitting there, and there's a lady probably in her 50s.
Yeah.
Okay, sitting there by herself in this little tiny booth on a stool, and Linda's ahead of me, and Linda walks by her, and I see this lady jump. She She jumped up
and
off
she looked right at me.
Right.
And she goes, I felt the ground beneath me shaking.
Like she said, it was just like an earthquake. Because she lived in California and she'd been through a lot of them. But she said, right when you walked by in front of me, the stool started jumping up and down, and the ground underneath me started shaking.
And I looked at her and I said, do you think that was an accident? Anyway, Ray took it over. He told her about, the book about guided and everything like that.
Sold her a book.
Oh man. But these things happen, you guys, especially when you are in the zone, okay? When you are in the game, when you are all in, when you're not resisting anything, when you're open to all this stuff, and you document it. You guys have to write it down, okay? Because what's going to happen, Brad, write it. You've got your book. Write it in part 3 of My Guided Journey about that incident that happened at Storm Wisdom. Date it. And just keep putting entries in there, 15 minutes a day. I know Spring is doing it. She told me that she's doing it, that she's doing the journaling. You guys are going to bump into it. Jackie hit the freaking jackpot, okay? She bumped into it 45 days after that interview in April, and then she started, it started working, and she started feeling it, and she started, moving in a direction and writing every day, 15 minutes a day. She started seeing it. Then all of a sudden on the pages, boom, it was a list of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bam, right in front of her. She's like, oh my God, there it is. And she ran with it, okay?
Right, and she ran so hard with it that she thought she could control it, and everything she chased
didn't work.
Was a dead end.
So she bumped, what she did is with her free will, there's free will and guidance, complementing each other. It was a little bit of a rough journey because she was so used to just being in this world and coming from making it happen, chasing it, forcing it. She go find it and get it and hire someone.
Exactly what she tried to do.
And she did. After she went through all that, she's like, sits back and goes, "Oh my God, that is so much work." True. That's the lesson. It's not supposed to be that hard, you guys.
And as soon as she let go of it,
it came right to her.
Right.
From the most unlikely source. Okay.
Right.
So this stuff is great, you guys. But you got to catch yourself. You got to slow down long enough to write it down, okay, as you move through your life. All right.
Okay. So when I'm thinking about how the guidance complements.
Do we have a question?
Let's Joy joined us. Hello, Joy. Kimberly says hello, Joy.
Okay. I think we had a question, Ray.
No, we didn't. Not yet. A lot of comments about how things are working out for everybody.
Okay. What's that long copy there?
Right there, Kimberly. I sometimes forget that they're here just to guide and advise me, because I will ask them how to do something or what should I do instead of being quiet and let my heart tell me the right way to go.
That's right.
Always ask them, why do I feel this way?
Right. And when you lead any question with why, just think about it this way. Why, when you lead with why, is the only way you can ask a question that has no agenda.
Right.
It's clean. You're not sitting there anticipating an answer, wanting to hear what you want to hear. There's no way you can do that when you lead it with why. It's clean. Okay.
Kimberly's comment leads right into my observation.
Okay.
You have guidance and you have free will. All right. This world and this world.
Right.
Did I do that right? It's this world here. Right hand is this world.
Yeah.
And left hand
is
the other world.
Raise it.
Put them together
Got
and do
it.
this. Okay.
He likes this part.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how it works, though.
So here's what I see. The guidance eventually triggers the free will. Okay. Because up until when you go through the 4 questions, okay, I'm going to write down what I'm concerned with right now. What's bugging me about my life? What am I trying to accomplish that I'm struggling with? I write it down. And then the next question is what?
How did it make you feel?
How does it make me feel? Well, it makes you feel a little frustrated because I can't, clearly see this or that. Okay.
Because you're busy trying to make it happen. Okay.
Right. And the next question is,
what did you realize from what you wrote down and how it made you feel?
What did I realize? That I have a long way to go before I make a decision.
Okay.
Okay. Now, here's where the free will comes. The free will doesn't come into this whole equation until you take action part, because now you've made a decision.
You've used your free will.
Right.
You're applying it.
But only when you get to that take action stage. That's where you have to make a decision.
Now you can, okay, let me rephrase that. You either have to make one or you get to.
Oh yeah, you got to make a decision.
Okay, but sometimes you feel the pressure of having to do it, having to make a decision with all the wrong information. Have you ever felt that?
Oh yeah. You have 10 days to respond to this letter.
You know, that has, in my life, that never produces great results. So when somebody gives me an ultimatum, a deadline, or whatever, I hear it out there. Okay, this is their rules, not mine. That's not the way I work and the way guidance works with you in this world. It's not how you bring it together and you really have the power to go forward and make a powerful, great decision. Under pressure, where you're being given the ultimatum, that is not a good place to make decisions from, or let anybody do that to you. All right. So what do you do when you're faced with that? Get your journal out and write down what that pressure is. Write it down. As soon as you open your journal and you write down what that is, you're going to feel the pressure come off right away. The 15 minutes every day, you're going to write down what that is. And then you're going to, because now you took it out of here, that burden, and you placed it on the page. It's no longer on you. Now you can see the darn thing and go, okay, now, besides the fact that somebody's trying to force me to do something, I'm not going to let that have its way with me, but I see it on the page and I can answer the question about how that now makes me feel. How much of that really works for me? It, really fits me or not. Okay, how's that make me feel? And what do I realize from it? Now that I've got it all on the paper and it's not consuming me and choking me and controlling me, I have laid it down on the page. I took the burden off me. I can see everything. That's why this works. This brings you back into not just where guidance and free will complement each other and really learn how to do that, but you become conscious. You are in control.
You become self-realized through this whole process.
It's powerful, you guys.
You know that there's actually people, scientists, okay?
Yeah.
Who believe there's no such thing as free will. There's a lot of them.
Now this is interesting. Ray goes to the computer and he does this yang thing. I'm the yin, I bring in this, and Ray comes over here in the logical world and tries to help us all look at why we wind up so much in this world. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay, they actually believe and swear they have proof that there's no such thing as free will, that psychologists, some of them are neuroscientists, they believe that some of the things that we perceive as being, free will are actually determined by our biology or environmental or societal pressures. Okay? Our biology, we're prone to do something. It's physical, that makes us do it. Or pressure from our environment or our group or how we grew up.
Okay.
Makes us do it.
Okay. Let's let the guides talk. I want to interrupt that right now because I still think that's free will. Nobody can make you do anything. Okay, really. And so, is it really that you're just, trying to fit into all this in this world? And you'd say, well, it wasn't my choice. I have to beg to differ that I think it is your choice. But let's see what the guides have to say about that.
Your free will is a tool that helps you make decisions, good or bad. It's not inherently either one. It's a choice. We would say that if there were no free will, there would be no criminals. A bank robber would say at his trial, I didn't choose to do that. It was just my biological nature. If a criminal didn't choose to commit a crime, then they're not a criminal.
So that's more like an excuse, right?
That would defeat the entire criminal justice system.
So, translation.
Guy's on trial for robbing a bank. I didn't choose to rob that bank. I don't have free will. I was forced.
So based on their study, he could just claim his defense would be,
there is no free will.
I didn't have there is no free will, so I'm going to let that stand as my defense against the damage I did.
So
the crime I created.
So anybody could do anything and not be responsible.
So that's a bunch of BS. That's basically what the guys are saying.
Well, you know, these are scientists trying to tell you that.
You guys, you see how you have to write it down. You'll see through the BS. I don't care how strong it seems and how educated they are about what they say is true or not. Once you start communicating, once you start taking the 15 minutes a day and communicate with your guides, because that's what you're doing, whether you realize it or not, this is a form of self-talk.
Yeah.
This is automatic writing in the process. It's a progress of automatic writing, because you're going to see the guidance and free will. Free will is writing it down. Guidance will infiltrate your writing and land on these pages, and there's the guidance and free will. This is the most beautiful way that you'll notice it. Now, what you do with it is your choice, but you've got these 4 qualifying questions that you always run. You run their filters. You're going to run all this through. Okay, what happened? What was unusual or out of the ordinary? Write it down. How did that make you feel? That's another filter. Write it down. What did you realize? Wow, that's when you know. That's the power right there in the 3rd qualifying question. And then the action. When you are capable of taking the action, you know what, you guys, you're not going to be perfect. You're going to go out there, you're going to stumble a little bit. You're not used to doing this, but you're going to be able to feel stronger about taking an action. And you know what I did and how I did it throughout my life? I never told anybody what I was doing. I never let anybody know. I was journaling. I was getting this information. And if I ever let them know the decisions, how I came to my decisions throughout my life, I worked with both worlds, how I brought it together, okay, and moved on that, they would have said I was crazy. Now that everyone's crazy, they don't think I'm crazy anymore, okay? And you won't think you're crazy anymore. The world is coming unglued. And this is why they've been forced from this world. This world has put so much pressure on them. They're expected to make good decisions with bad information.
Yeah.
And the world's filled with bad information now. You have to assimilate what the bad information is from the good information. You can't find it unless you write it down. 15 minutes a day, the meeting with your spirit guides right here. Okay, Ray.
Okay. Kimberly has a question. Why am I stressing out over sharing the store space with my friend? I choose to share the space with him, so why is it stressing me out?
Okay, let's let your guides tell you. I don't know.
She just wants it to be perfect.
How the heck am I supposed to know?
How do we know?
Your guides know, though, Kimberly, and you know that. All right.
Kimberly, it's more important to realize that you are both self-determined people. You must treat each other as such and not stress over a decision you made that you felt was right. The free will action you took was a culmination of our guidance combined with how much you felt you could trust this person.
See, you've got somebody else involved when you bring someone else in.
Right.
And it, you know, are they tuned in like you are? Are they going to, you know, how much are you alike in good ways? I mean, do you really fit? You know, is this worthwhile doing? Are you jumping in too fast? That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like you're jumping too fast. That's what I feel. That's what guidance is telling me that you're doing. Kimberly, slow down, and write down what's going on. You're not supposed to make all these decisions on your own. You never were supposed to. Start documenting what's going on and let it show itself to you. It will show itself to you, but just do the 15 minutes a day about it.
Right.
And let it show up, okay? And it will.
You know what they don't teach in school? Decision making.
They don't.
Why not?
That's
It's
right.
an important part of your future.
It's critical. You know why they don't do it, Ray? Because they're too busy imposing their demands on you as a child.
Right.
You don't have a chance to even think a thought, let alone make a decision. And then if you make a decision, everybody's sitting back, judging you, criticizing you, critiquing you.
Criticizing your decisions.
Yeah. I mean,
pretty soon you won't make a decision because you're worried about what they're going to say or what they're going to say about you.
You're sick of it. As a kid, you're not so much worried about it. You don't move into that until later.
Right.
But you just resent not being respected and heard, you know?
Yeah, it's...
It started way back then. Ray, what else do we have?
No more questions, but, you know, this whole... when I was doing my research...
Ray did a great job on this. He does a great job on this.
Philosophers have been arguing and debating this free will thing for centuries. What they most were concerned with was people like to believe they have free will or not. Okay, some of them. Do we have free will or don't we have free will? And the other people are saying, well, does free will even exist?
Well, you know how I feel about it? Free will is, let me translate the word free will into one word: responsibility for your actions.
That's 3 words.
I know, and I added the extra ones later. They kind of just came out, you know. Anyway, it has to do with being responsible for your free will. Okay, so you moved on your free will. You took action and you threw your free will out into the game and you went for it. Okay, how well did you think it out? Were you complementing the two energies, the guidance with the free will? Were you really connected so that when you did make a decision, boy, the odds were in your favor? Okay, did you write it down? Did you take the 15 minutes each day to examine what's going on with you and all the many things that are coming through all the time from the world you came from guidance, from your real self, from your higher self? Okay, as it interfaces with this world. Okay, this is what we're supposed to learn to master in this lifetime, is bringing these two things together so they complement each other. Okay,
Yin and yang.
That's
Remember that sign?
that's,
Yeah.
that's what it is. That it's the same thing like with male and female energy. And let's talk about you as a person. How much male energy do you have? How much female energy do you have? Is one overweighted? Or this one's overweighted? It's about getting these things in balance. So you've got good decision-making skills, because you're not alone, you guys. You're not alone. You're always being guided. This part of you wants to help this part of you. This struggles without this. It's about learning to bring these together.
Okay. Kimberly also said something at the end of her last observation. She just wants to be perfect. Okay. There is no such thing as perfect, just like there's no such thing as normal.
That is so true.
Everybody goes, hey, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. What they're saying is they can't accept the responsibility of the decisions they've made up till now that make it different from what they thought was normal.
They can't accept what is.
Right, that's the biggest problem. They're disconnected.
They are disconnected, right?
And what people realize is once they use that free will to make a decision to go left or right, now they have to accept the responsibility of going left or right.
Okay, let me say something for Kimberly about this thing about perfection. I should know. And I want to say this too. This is a fact. Children who were abused. You were abused, Kimberly. I was abused. The tendency for abused children, in fact, some of you will ask yourself, I wonder if I was abused. If what happened in my life as a child fits into that category. Does it? Here's the litmus test. If you are a perfectionist, I mean like Kimberly's talking about, like I tend to be, I will take longer to do something because I need it to be right. I need it to be well thought out. I need to know I did my inner work. I really ran this by both parts of me. And I've got something that makes sense, okay? I'm the same way, Kimberly, but I'll tell you what, don't expect everybody else to be perfect. This is your burden. This is your cross to bear, if you want to say it that way. You need to apply your perfectionism to your art. Spend it there. I spend it on my writing, okay, and on coaching sessions where I really get in there, and I mean, my whole mission is about helping that person get it right, pull out of the struggle and have the capacity to make these decisions that are good decisions by being in one piece. Okay, that is my, and it's, I'm a perfectionist about it. That's my choice. I choose to do that. It takes me longer. It took me longer, Ray and I longer, to bring this project to the point where it's at now. It's beginning to really go. But I don't regret one bit of struggle I put myself through. I don't regret the patience that I threw at it. And yeah, it's been tough on us, but I had to do it that way, Kimberly. And in the meantime, what I did is I didn't bring anybody else into it because I knew they could never stand it. They could never tolerate that. They could never wait that long. They could never put up with my level of excellence that I insisted on. Nobody could. So this partner that you're looking at, does he have it? Could he even begin to have any of these qualities? I can answer that for you right now. No way. All right? That's why, Kimberly, you've got to get your perfectionism into perspective. Okay? So you're in this world. This is not perfect in this world. And there's this part of you that's absolutely perfect. Knows exactly what it wants to do. It has a vision. It sees it. It has to see it in this world. Don't drag other people into it if it's too demanding. That's what I want to say. You've got to get through that part where it meets that level of excellence that you need it to be. Because you know what? I got to tell you that, yeah, I was abused as a kid, and I have this thing about perfectionism. I can't help it. It has a hold of me, and I actually love it. I've learned how to afford it in my life to the degree that I do, and I was willing to pay the price. Okay. So it's going to take you a little longer to find somebody who's a good match as a partner. Maybe never. Maybe you just need to move on this on your own because you expect too much. The other people didn't go through this struggle that you survived as a child. They totally don't get what your problem is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
That just goes with it. All right.
What's happening next week?
What is happening, right, with the what's happening now?
What's happening, now portion of our show.
Okay, this is awesome. I love all this debate and back and forth and talking with the guides and getting their perspective on academia and how they perceive free will, trying to weasel out of it. You know what? They're cowards, you guys. All right. All right. So we're going to talk about a few announcements here. The guides are going to close the session tonight about when free will and guidance complement each other. But first, I'm going to share some announcements with you guys. Next Tuesday, September 24th, join me right here on my Facebook page, Linda Deir, author. And this will be another Q&A and commentary with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So don't miss it. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about your before and after. People are fascinated with before and after photos. They show up everywhere in advertising. You came into this life from who it is you really are. Along the way, you get a makeover in many ways to fit in or belong to a certain group of friends who are all doing the same things. But all these things you do to get something has nothing to do with why you came here and who you really are. Who you are changed as a result of becoming something more than you were before you got here. In that before picture. Let me read that again. Who you are changed as a result of becoming something more than you were before you got here in that before picture. So you come in the way you are, you come in as who you are, and you learn in this lifetime like you have in many lifetimes before, making you more than you were than when you first got here, okay? That's the whole point. It's not to be repressed, not to let your true self get repressed in this world and become less. It's about making the connection and becoming more. Okay, that's the key to this insight. Okay, hold on. Your before and after pictures of your life are invisible in the photograph. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your before and after pictures in your life that you see are invisible in the photograph. We're talking about your life, not what you look like. It's not that superficial, okay, about your before and after. So come next Tuesday. We're going to have fun with that one.
I like before and after pictures.
I know you do, Ray. It's interesting. It's interesting, but it's not your life. It's different. It's a superficial appearance of your life, of what your life really is.
It's like HGTV, before after.
Before
and after.
Well, I see why you like it. Okay, all right. So this Thursday, that's 2 days from now, September 19th at 6 p.m. Pacific, join us on our Facebook secret group, Ask the Universal Channel. The students will perform the following. Joy's spirit guides will predict that you will be asking about a period of restlessness in the world and what it is related to. Now that's interesting. Veronica's spirit guides will talk about why working with others accentuates, accelerates, and authenticates the energy and information that is there for you. Only love, trust, and know. That would give us a hint about what that energy is, the source of it. And Kathy's spirit guides will discuss the importance of forming good habits now. Sounds like the guides are getting us prepared for something here. You guys want to come to that? In the description of this video, you'll find if you don't belong to the group, you'll find what you need to do to get into the group. So take a look at it. And this event will be hosted by myself and Ray. All right. Okay, now, one last little commercial here. And I want to say, mark your calendars. No, I mean register. For next month's live event, Saturday, October 5th, Ray and I will be live on location in Phoenix, Arizona at Storm Wisdom from 1 to 3 p.m. And in this event, this will be about Experience the Proven Spirit Guide Communication System with Linda Deir, Ray Hawley, with those who attend our on-location event. We interact with our audience, okay? It's $35 and includes a free paperback copy of My Guided Journey, a $15 value. You can also attend this event via live streaming and watch it on demand for 30 days after it's over for $9.95 from anywhere in the world. So register because seating is limited. We almost sold out of our online live streaming from the first one we did, you guys. So it's getting interesting. So watch the video trailer and register for this event. To watch it and register, click on the link in the description of this video. Ray placed it in there. Okay, now, what do we have, Ray? Okay. I love these. These are great. This gets us really revved up. And this is a good time. In fact, when you're in one of these sessions with us, there's a lot of energy that comes through. This is a good time for you to take your journal, my journal writing, and bring it out, whatever came through that was unusual or out of the ordinary in these sessions, and take that 15 minutes after we're done with you on Tuesdays and write down what came to you, what came through, okay? That's brilliant. Make sure you do that. Okay, so spirit guides are going to close this session. Oh, when free will and guidance complement each other. And here they go.
It's important to remember to treat yourself and others as experiential beings. You are here to learn through experience. So give yourself and others space to take the actions they choose through free will. Then give them the respect they deserve for their choices without judgment of their outcomes.
Okay, you know how Kimberly was talking about her need to be a perfectionist. When you bring somebody else on, you've got to be careful not to lay that on them. And how much tolerance do you have for their imperfection? Kimberly, write it down, and it will show on the page about what that is. How do you approach that with this burden of being a perfectionist? Should you lay that on somebody else? Okay, that's not so nice at that point. You know, they've got to learn too. They're in this world to experience things too. And if your perfectionism cuts them out, it doesn't allow them to experience and learn, then you probably are out of balance with that. Write about it, Kimberly. I understand it real well. All right. What I did, here's how I managed it. I married a perfectionist. Now we torment each other with being perfectionists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our relationship somewhere between torment and fun, somewhere in the middle.
It's just the way it is. Okay. So I put myself into a situation where somebody had, you know, high standards. I had to have it. Okay. So that's what I did. So maybe the person, I don't feel like this person's right. So look at that, write about it, and when you write about it, and if you want this partner, you know, if you really need that partner, then in your writing, ask for that to show up with the right qualities, something that's more in alignment with you, and then you still have to, you know, bend, and you still have to, you know, to let them have their lessons too. Respect them. All right, somebody you can respect.
There you go.
Okay.
And trust.
Yeah, and trust. Love and trust. Respect.
Same thing.
It's all in that same package, all right? You guys, we'll see you on Thursday. If you haven't joined the group, look in the description and ask to join Ask the Universal Channel group. It's amazing. It's an amazing group. It's not easy to get into this group. It's secret for a reason. Okay. So, you know, we look at you and, you know, so far we've let everybody in that's asked to come in. Everybody's been on the up and up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the qualifier is you've got to get one version of Ask the Universal Channel to get into the group. You can't do what they do if you don't have the tool to do it with.
Right.
And that's as simple as that. So anyway, and do make sure if you want to attend our event in October, register. Don't wait. Don't wait to do it. Okay.
If you want to be there in person or online, either one.
Yep. Either way, it's powerful, you guys.
Because once the event starts at 1 o'clock,
you can't get in.
You can't get in anymore. You can't get in online either.
And there's only 100 seats available on the live streaming, and 50 seats available at our physical location.
Right.
So, you know, register, get in, and you won't have to worry about that.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you Thursday maybe, and next Tuesday.
Be kind to everybody.
Good night.